Hey, what's up? My name's Ryan.
And I'm Joel.
In this video, we're going to be simply telling you what we think are the most beautiful board games.
So I'm going to jump right into it with my number 10 pick. Now, this is a game that may not scream beauty exactly, that you're not like, ooh, but it's a little more like, yeah, it all works together and is nice, but it's dark. And this game I'm talking about is called Mysterium.
Oh, nice.
And
nice.
Mysterium, again, it's a dark theme, and a lot of the art is weird, abstract, like sometimes like kind of dark, scary imagery. So not really like your typical like, oh, so pretty, but like just much more like, wow, like the art is nice, and it has, probably a couple hundred cards. I don't know exactly how many in it, with unique artwork on each, and some of them are not that good, but a lot of them are fantastic. And one thing that's really impressive is I could tell you like what game that art is all from, because it has a really consistent style all the way through from like the characters out in front of you to like the deck of art cards. So
Yeah, like some games in this list are going to be like beautiful, just like the typical sense, and also some are just such a good uniform presentation. You won't get it if you see a picture of one card, but when you see it set up on the table, you go, "Ooh, that's cool." It feels like what the game is about.
And that's Mysterium for me.
Now, in contrast to your number 10, my number 10 is beauty in the traditional sense, and this is just photosynthesis. I almost didn't put it on because I was like, oh, it's so overdone, everyone knows it's beautiful. It doesn't change the fact that it's beautiful, and I'm including the box of the game looks good.
Yeah.
Like, I keep it on my shelf, even though I hardly play it, I keep it in the most prominent positions. People walk around the house and they're like, especially they don't know board games, they're like, ooh, that looks cool. Because it doesn't, I know us board gamers have seen it for 6 years or whatever now. We're kind of like, okay, we know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But people who don't know what it is, they're just like, everyone just wants to play that game. When you see it set up and there's like a forest of trees, it's just a traditional sense of it just looks beautiful. There's like the blue trees and the green trees and the yellow trees and the reddish orange trees.
And they're vertical and
and different sizes, and
so nice looking.
The seeds look nice and are unique for each one. It's just a great looking game though.
It's a better presentation than it is game.
It's gorgeous. It's an amazing looking game.
My number 9 is a game that I think in isolation of any piece of art, you might be like, it's okay. And I kind of feel the same. It may not be like the most standout, but the game is so coherent. All the art and then the stories that go along with it like creates an experience that I love all the way from the box art to the smallest piece. You're enjoying it. And this is a game called Above and Below. I think you probably disagree with me on this one because we've talked about this game before, but a lot of it's really simple. It looks almost hand-drawn kind of art, but to me it sets the theme of the game so perfectly, and it's exactly what that kind of like storytelling game needs, I think. So I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to say I didn't like it. It just didn't quite make it to my top 10. All right, so my number 9 is kind of similar idea. I don't think any single piece of artwork looks amazing, but the presentation is so nice. I don't know if you played this yet. Have you played Villagers?
Yeah.
Villagers is nice. It comes in a small box. We already have this like, ooh, kind of like nice cozy feel.
Yeah.
It just says Villagers, like a windmill on the front. It's so nice. Then the card art is bright. Like they don't use a negative black space, but all the negative space is just bright. Everything's clean looking, the hand drawn kind of feel. But it's just such a clean looking game. And just, you put villagers in front of you, that's all you're doing. You have like, this guy looks like a carpenter. This guy looks like, whatever. And it's just it's nice. So you play the game, you have this like entire table sprawled out. Everyone has all their villagers in their city by the end. And they look really neat and clean. I love that art style.
Yeah, for a game that's like entirely cards, it's beautiful.
Yeah, there's no board.
Yeah.
No anything.
It's impressive how good it looks.
But it's that one uniform presentation, and I think this one actually is beautiful as well.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a game I've had set up. People have just seen it and been like, "Ooh, that looks cool. Like, it looks good."
For my number 8, I chose the game Machi Koro.
Nice.
Machi Koro goes for like this modern, super simple aesthetic, and it's perfect all around in my opinion. Everywhere from just the components to the artwork on the cards. Really blends nice, and for the type of little puzzle game that it is, it's perfect for what it needs. So it's a game I always think of like, man, it just looks pretty on the shelf, and you see it, you're like, oh, that's like has a nice aesthetic, and like you want to grab it, you want to look at it, and then you want to play it, and I just love how it looks.
I feel like it almost gives me a classic Mario feel. With like the hills in the background just being like these little tiny like clean. If you like, the 2D Mario, the old stuff, it just feels like almost that. I don't know, very flat look, but it's clean. It's
It's the
nice.
Japanese aesthetic.
Oh, I guess I didn't even think about that, but yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
it is.
maybe Japanese people are like, "This is art." What are you talking about? Like, I don't know.
This is the most generic thing we've ever seen.
It's true. It's so unique. No, but I agree. It's a very, very cool looking game. Okay, so my number 8 is definitively the ugliest game on my list. It's not beautiful. I know, I lied. I'm totally leaning into the vibe this game gives off. When I first saw this game, I thought it looked ugly. Then when I played it, I thought the ugliness was brilliant. And that's Suburbia.
Oh.
Suburbia doesn't look good.
Especially the box.
The box does not look good. There's two versions of them. They're both. Either one looks good, honestly. Neither one looks good. But the game itself is a bunch of hexagons or octagons. Hexagons maybe.
Hexagons, I think.
But you're building. You're a city builder, right? And it's a cool game where you're doing things. You're making like really like. I don't know, you kind of feel like hard and cold decisions where you're like, we're going to have to put that airport by that residential community. It does make us lose some popularity, but I actually want to lose some popularity right now for this reason. You're making some it feels very cold, hard, calculated. Like you're a city planner and you're kind of ruining some people's lives and some of your decisions you make if you really think about the theme too much. But for some reason that works in this game. You just feel like you're doing boring, ugly, busy work in an office. And I don't know. It's hard to explain. But it's brilliant. Everything is very industrial looking. It's very clean cut. The roads are all like exactly 45-degree angles to the road. The roads do continue through the board. It does look okay when it's all set up.
It looks good.
But it's a lot of jagged lines and everything. And I don't know. For some reason that aesthetic just work. Like the money symbols, like just classic money symbols. So many things just look like you could just see it in a city planner's building. Like we were drawing lines and graphing stuff out. I feel like it's that aesthetic that like when you first see it, you might not think it looks good, but when you play the game, you're like, I don't know, it fits the game so well.
It almost feels like you're saying that they made a boring game about doing boring things with boring art.
And it's amazing.
I love it.
Perfect.
Alrighty, my number 7 is also a dark game, but I think the artwork throughout this is amazing. It is some of the best art I've seen in board games. So I'm going to kind of call out the whole Fantasy Flight Arkham Eldritch world. The Cthulhu theme is not my favorite thing in the world, but I feel like there's just no denying the consistency and the quality of the artwork in those is just amazing. Like every little card you pick up is well drawn, a unique piece of art, and it's perfect for usually the size it's displayed at. Like you're not getting small cards with hyper detailed art that you can't make out what's happening. Like every card you look at, you're like, it looks nice, and as one piece you put it on the table and you're like, oh yeah. It's horrific things and monsters, but
don't get this for your significant other and be like, it's so cute. Like it's not that kind of beautiful.
Oh look, she has 4 heads and one of them's gone.
Okay, my number 7 I saw on a list like this, and it almost was the number 1 for its box art. And I don't think the cover art of the game is great. It's Scythe. I don't think I think people want a board game box to look like a painting on the wall, and I don't. I want like a game. I'm entering into a world, not just like a pretty picture. Now I bash all that, but it's on my list because once you open that box and you like set up this humongous board, and there's like actual mechs, and the resources go onto the map that you harvest, and like you have your villagers and your player board. It's just such a cool. I mean, what I think it's set around World War One-ish. Again, the box art is fine, but it's more when you see it set up, you just think, whoa, that looks like a real game right there. And that one is beautiful, I think. It's
beautiful.
I'm not a fan, as people know, of like miniatures all the time. Yeah. But that one, because the board is so big, being like, I'm taking this mech, boom, 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 down there. It feels good. It's just a great looking thing. Like the resources look good. The colors the colors pop, but they're not gaudy. It's hard to explain. There's very contrasty colors, but the colors are integrated in the board in a way where they stick out enough to be playable, but they have a good feeling to the whole game. Just it feels good. I really like the look of Scythe.
Yeah, I actually can't believe I didn't consider Scythe for some reason when I made this list at all, but it's a really good choice. It is one of those games that like has just it looks great, and all of it looks great together. You're not like, oh, but these deck of cards look terrible.
Right, here's like random pink coins you put out there. You're like, well, no, it's one great look.
Something like, like Arc Nova, it's like, this part looks amazing, but then this part's like weird photography and like
Yeah.
it's just like a big mix of what's going on.
Yeah, Scythe is clean. It's nice.
Scythe is really nice. My number 6 may bring very little surprise to your ears, and that is Wingspan.
Oh, nice.
Wingspan, it's a little cliche, but it's gorgeous. Great. I mean, it's got great, beautiful box art, and then you open it up, your player mats look gorgeous, and you build on like the places of your player mats, like the different environments you're in, and every bird card in the whole game is unique for the whole game. So you won't see the same card, and the bird art's really nice, and apparently it's accurate too, but I don't know anything about birds, so
and
I couldn't tell you.
It's not a photograph, it's actual art.
Yeah, it's not a photograph. They could have. Like, imagine making a game, hypothetically, about a zoo, and you just took pictures of animals horribly cropped onto the cards. Like, you could have done that with the birds.
And sometimes really dragging up the, like, contrast slider for no reason.
You're like, oh, yeah, contrast.
Oh, looks good, looks good.
That was saturation.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But no, all the art, it is beautiful. And the birds, like, when you see one, you get one. I literally have played this game and just built, like, pretty birds. Because I'm like, I want my thing to look nice. It's not a good way to win. But
right.
They're so fun. And, like, they look beautiful. The colors pop. And it's printed on really high-quality stuff, too. Which I think helps the colors, like, not fade and look bad so quickly. So, on top of that, it has, like, a Dice Tower bird feeder. Which, Dice Tower gimmick, whatever. But it looks great. With the game, it's got food tokens in it as well. That all looks great. Even the rulebooks and the solo mode stuff, if you kind of flip through it, it's all like a nice experience, the whole thing. So it's definitely up there. Gorgeous looking game. Couldn't recommend it more for its looks.
All right, so my number 6, that's something that I think a lot of games are going to do later on this list, and that is be the same between us. And so my number 6 is Mysterium. I agree with what you said. It is beautiful in one sense, but also it's just such a uniform, cool look. It's like a little dark, a little ghosty, I guess, which I mean, but it's just a good looking game. It just, you put it on the table. There's like even like little pieces like to mark who you are and what you get.
The orbs are cute. I didn't mention that.
The orbs, they look so good. There's like a random thing you don't even need, a little package you slide your like clues into. But they're cool. They have a little art on them, so it's just a really good looking game.
All right, we're gonna keep that crossover trend going with number 5. I don't think you would expect this from me, but I also wrote Villagers.
Oh, no, not at all.
Only played the game once, and I thought it was okay. I don't know if I loved it, but every time I see it on your shelf, I'm like, maybe it is cool. It's such a beautiful game. In the box it comes in, it's the only game that I've seen the packaging like that. I'm sure there's other ones that exist. Only game I've seen the packaging like that. Its expansion blends with the box, which looks amazing.
Like an even smaller skinny box.
It's perfect. But then you open it up and all the cards are so exciting, and it makes you like want to figure it out, and it makes you want to pull it out. So to me, that is like a perfect, like, games could look good, and it's good if they pull you in and make you want to play. And that's like a good reason for a game to look amazing, like to make you want to play. And that's like a game that I saw and I'm like, wow.
Up next here is a game called Isle of Cats. Now, I am not super interested in cats, and I would say the cat art on the game is like okay, but what really elevates it for me, I don't know if you've seen it much, but it's one of these games that when it's set up, everything you have in it, like you have the baskets to try to rescue the cats in, they really fit with you have your boat. The boat have like mice in there you're trying to like cover with the cats because cats eat mice, and so you cover up the cat with your mice and capture them. You also have you're going onto the island, and the island has a little tracker, and the tracker is the boat that's going to get to the island and try to kill the cats at the end. You're trying to save it from that, and the cards all have it's just a really cool. It's kind of that Villagers kind of bright feel, but I don't know. I just think it's one of these games that not necessarily the individual art pieces I wouldn't say are good. It's just that you set it up and you're like you can just see. This is a game about rescuing cats. We're playing them on Boatsman Island. It's clear from the way the game looks that's what it's about. So I think it looks great.
I haven't got to play it, but I agree. It looks gorgeous. Yeah, I've seen it set up. It's like,
I don't even like Tetris polyomino sort of thing. They're fine. But that one, I'm like, that's kind of cool looking just because it looks great.
Alrighty, my number 4. Once again, we got a crossover. And this is a game about trees and sunlight. That's right. Photosynthesis.
That's right. I thought you might have
You were all thinking it. Photosynthesis, yes. It's a beautiful game. It's a game I don't care for a whole lot, but man, it looks so good. I know it's been said 100,000 times, but it looks beautiful. Especially I feel like when it came out, there wasn't anything with that exact aesthetic, so it felt really unique when it came out. Now there's a few more things down that vein, but that one particularly just like looks great. The multicolored trees blend so nicely on the board, and it's gorgeous.
My number 4 is Parks. Parks looks great. I mean, like, it's one of these games that every time I don't look at it for a while, I kind of forget how good it looks. Then you take it out and you're like, you get your campfire you can flip over. You're basically traveling down a little tiny row and doing actions, basically collecting little tiny things you're going to trade in and visit the national parks. And all this, I think it looks great. There's a little tiny fold-out board. There are the little tokens you get, like the unique color, like the star token that you get, or the sunlight token, and the raindrop tokens. Then there's like the unique animal tokens. And then that's not even to mention all the national parks, like the artwork on those cards. They're amazing. You're like,
really good.
I want to be one of those people that start visiting parks. I don't really. Actually, I think visiting national parks are cool, but it makes you want to do the thing. You're like, we should go visit. We should go visit these places. They look stellar. You're like, that place is in Ohio. It can't even be that good. But I don't know. The art makes it look so good.
And you can go play trekking through the national parks and you won't feel anything.
I've never played that game. But
it's fine.
But parks is just like, there's a canteens that look good.
Yeah.
They're like, those cards look good. There's like the cards you flip over to say what your weather pattern is.
Yeah.
Like every little piece of this game. Oh, and the tokens come in little tiny logs that you open up, and the logs are the token holders, or like little log shaped container. Yeah. It's like someone in the box is this big.
It's amazing.
They fit all this into this little tiny cute box, and they were like, let's just make every single component match this idea. And they did. It's an amazing looking game. I love it. It's one of my favorite looking games, clearly, because it's number 4.
My number 3 is a game that may not belong on this list because it's mostly text. However, the aesthetic is amazing, and I can't not bring it up. I also love the game, but I love the aesthetic. This is Fog of Love.
Oh, yeah.
It is completely white and clean. Everything is whites and grays, but then you have 2 players. One of them is pink and one of them is blue, and they're like the perfect shades with the white. And most of the cards, they're just text, but like it all looks incredible. And it's a game where you have to spend a lot of time reading stories, and it's good. But you're reading stories and narratives to each other, and like it looks nice when you read it. Plus, like the text is big and readable, and it's fine. But like, when you put it on the board, it's like this clean. I would describe it almost like the Apple aesthetic put into a board game. Like you see it out there, you're like, okay, I see why people are into that, right? It looks clean and just beautiful.
I almost put down my list. I completely agree. It just has that like, I another game that you have set up. People who don't even care about board games walk by and they're just like, ooh, I might like that. Like, you won't, but they think
you won't like this game.
We like it. It's a very specific niche kind of people who are like this game, narrative-based game. But it looks so inviting. Just like, especially most people play things like Monopoly and Trouble, and you see that, and you're like, oh, good graphic design in a board game. It's
good fonts. No, we don't want that.
What's that? Yeah, I almost put on my list, but it was right on the cutoff.
It's a lot of text.
Yeah. My number 3 is probably the newest game for me on the list, and I've been talking about a lot lately because I really like it. Trekking Through History. You just picked on their other game, Trekking to National Parks, I've never played before. But Trekking Through History, it just looks really good. And I'm kind of confirmed by this. I made a video on my channel about it, and the comments are like, that looks so good. I'm like, it does. It just like, it's about an event in history. I think the most brilliant thing about the game is they don't say, I don't remember some specific cards. They won't say things like, Alexander the Great. They'll say like, read a book with Alexander the Great, and there'll be a picture of him reading a book, and they're going to say like Cleopatra. It's going to be like Cleopatra's dramatic flair, and it's just like a little thing so that the people are interacting. So it's not like the whatever, but here's an action they did. Feel real. And then the art is not photographs, which you really couldn't do photographs anyway from a few thousand years ago. But they're really good drawings that like just engage you, and you can flip it over. You get some text on the back with the historical event, but just when you set everything out and you deal with the cards, it's just, ooh, that looks cool. So maybe it's a little higher because recency bias. Like, I just got this game introduced. It might drop down a few spots over time, but it's an impressive looking game. So
I think that's a really good looking game. I haven't played it. I've dug through your box, and I've also watched your video on it, and I thought it looks incredibly good. But I do think you have a little recency bias because I think Parks is a better look. In fact, I think Park looks so much better that I put it as my number 2 on my list. And I definitely think it is. I mean, you said almost every component of the game. I don't know what else to say. The only thing that is not good about Parks is I don't like the box art. I think the box art's pretty. It's
box
got
art's one of the
so
cards.
much going on.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's like kind of like ugh to me. But
Arts is great.
once it's open, I actually didn't see the box art till later because you set it up and I just saw the game and I was like, oh, oh, that's nice.
But you're
Ooh.
yeah.
It's beautiful. It's like cohesive. It looks good. And then yeah, every national park you get throughout the game, every tile you get, you're like, oh yeah, that one's really good too. You're like, that one's really good too. I want to go there.
Yeah,
and then you go there, it's probably all like dead grass and not alive, but it's fine.
So did you bash my number 3 just to make your number 2 sound better?
I really did. But I do feel like you got to reverse that 3 and 4. I think Parks is better than Trekking Through History.
We'll see.
Hands down.
We'll see. I'm expecting my last 2 games to also be on your list. And one of them already is. Up next here, I have Wingspan. So you thought you were being on mainstream, putting it so high. Wow. I have it way higher. I think Wingspan looks
number 2
amazing. And you didn't mention the best looking part of the game. By far. The eggs.
Oh, the eggs do look good.
The eggs don't just look good.
They're satisfying too.
They feel
they
good.
Do. They feel so good.
They do. And like they're so good pastels. They're amazing. The only flaw of the game, the biggest, not the only, but the biggest flaw of Wingspan gameplay, and the reason I'm so good at the game, this isn't brag, you'll understand why in a second, is one of the most superior strategies is the egg strategy, which I always do because I want to collect all the eggs. Like, you want to end the game with no eggs, you're like 22 on your board. First of all, I get 22 points for that. But they look good. They feel, they might roll on the table, but I don't care. This is like, again, just one of those games that just blows your mind how good it looks. Like you said, the bird art is all unique. It has that clean, crisp look to everything. So, Wingspan, there's a reason why it's sold so much. There's a reason people see that and like, I want to play this game. Like, order it right away. It looks great.
I'm shocked it's so high for you, but it is gorgeous. I would be a little sad if it wasn't included at all, so I'm glad that's here.
Yeah.
Alrighty, before we get on to our number 1s, we're going to give a couple of honorable mentions that just didn't make the list. What you got?
Okay, so real quick here, I have Summer Camp. I think Summer Camp is that it just, the art quality isn't quite enough there, but it's that it just looks like you're going to summer camp. Very cute looking game. If the individual art pieces were a little better, I think it might have barely, but it was like my first game out. I also have Cafe, which is a much smaller, little known game about making coffee. It just looks nice and clean. You're making coffee beans, roasting them, and trying to sell them. What do you got?
All right, my 2 are, first up, one I was embarrassed, so I didn't want to put it on the list. But I think the artwork is actually a little bit subpar, but I think it works so well for the game, and that's Ghost Stories.
Oh.
I think it's a little subpar, especially if you look at it up close. It's like, But when you're playing the game, it works really well. And I guess you could say it's consistently mediocre. So it's consistent throughout the whole game. There's no standout where you're like, no, that one's good. You're like, no, it's all
okay.
But my second one I chose was Santorini. And Santorini's not a game with mind-blowing art, but I think it's all art that works really well together. The character art and all the power cards look great. On the table, it looks awesome. You're doing these pure white buildings with these blue tops. They really sparkle. Okay, my number 1 is a game that has incredible artwork from cover down to the smallest component in the game. It is a game that when you first see it, has a pretty solid opening, but inside you'll find a board with lots of weaving paths. The game I'm talking about here, Power Grid. That's not my number 1.
I know.
Actually, my number 1, which I would imagine is yours too, is a game called Everdell.
Mm-hmm. It just looks amazing. What can I say? And I hate the tree. The tree is stupid.
It's annoying.
It's annoying. It's in your way. It's a detriment to gameplay. No, but you can get rid of the tree and it would still be on the list.
Yeah.
And I do get rid of the tree. I was thinking last time I played, I was like, let's just not do the tree. But without that, you have 4 resources and they look and feel like the resources. It's like, why is that such a big deal? I don't know. To be like, it's stone. It's smooth. The berry squishy. But you can see the berry even has a kind of, I don't know, leathery texture to it. So it looks great. The card art looks really good. The whole fact the board is not just a square, but shaped like kind of a meadow.
Oh.
I don't know. This just has to be number 1. And like you said, the box cover.
I know.
Like some of these games, I probably judge games a little more by what's on the inside.
Yeah.
Than what's on the outside. But that one, it's like, you literally look at it and you're like, this is going to be gorgeous. The rule book, gorgeous. The game set up.
It is a game that I have no interest in buying an expansion for, even though I really like the game. But I see the expansion set out on the table in pictures, and I'm like, maybe. Maybe. It looks amazing. And like the box art for the expansions is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's all amazing. The component quality is super high too.
Yeah.
And a lot of the cards have like linking attributes to them, which is the iconography is great on all the cards for communicating how the different mechanics work, especially the linking. And then your cards, you'll be building a tableau throughout the game in front of you of cards, and they look so nice together.
When you think like beautiful game, I mean, I think it was easily my number one.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to find something else to put there because I didn't want to be so like mainstream.
I know. I want to not like it because everyone says it's beautiful,
but it just is.
But it is.
If you want to like set something up and have people walk by and just like play a game with you because you need friends, set up Everdell. It looks great. It just does. It's a beautiful game.
True story. I recommended a guy I worked with that him and his wife go get Seven Wonders Duel because I thought it would be the best game for them to get into. And he said they went into the board game store, she saw Everdell, and they bought that, and they never played board games. Like, it was kind of heavy. We're not sure if we like it. But they've never played any board games. I was like, but it has that effect. She just saw it, she was like, that one.
There's
that
a
one
reason
right
why it's in mainstream stores too, because you just walk by and you see it, and you're like, I want to buy that game. It just, I don't know how they make a box cover. Like, I don't know why more people can't make box covers look like that. I'm not an artist though by trade, so I don't judge people like for not knowing how to do that. But it just has that like, wow, that just looks beautiful. All right, so plain and simple, there were our top 10 most beautiful, or at least maybe most aesthetically pleasing board games that we just love the look of on the table.
If you got any games that you think we missed, drop them in the comments down below and let us know.
And of course, if you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is awesome. Subscribe, you'll see a lot more videos like this, the top 10s, the playthroughs, the reviews, and all sorts of fun stuff like that. See you next time.
Bye.